Good morning, good morning, good morning. Moving my TikTok back. It's like so close. Good morning, you guys. How are you doing? It's Wednesday. So good to see you guys. Man, we're like what, in the middle of August now? I live in Minnesota, so we're always counting down like how many days until winter? Oh, and you know what? It's really funny because I don't actually despise winter. I was just talking to somebody last night. They love all four seasons, right? Maybe you're like that too, and you would rather have snow. You would rather have four seasons. Actually, don't hate it. So we just, whatever. It's my least favorite season, but it's not so bad. Good morning. How are you guys doing? Jump on in. Let's talk some. Good morning, Mary. How are you this morning? Good to see you. So today is Wednesday. I don't remember the date. That's okay. Good morning, Cheryl. How are you? Kyle, you guys are all jumping on this morning. Very good. Very good. I was talking to somebody yesterday about, when we were talking about prescription meds. And I thought, you know what? I've done this before, and I know that this is really helpful for people. If you are actually on the type 2 med, MET, or if you're on STATIN, they actually cause deficiencies. And so I wanted to go through 4 supplements that can help fill in some of those deficiencies for you because, you might not be able to get rid of, scripts right away, but you definitely want to be backfilling with the deficiencies that they're creating. And you guys, this is crazy because this is literally like, you just Google this information and they'll tell you the deficiencies. It's not like you're even trying to hide it. I'm just telling you. Good morning, Carrie. Hi, how are you? And I saw Linda over here. Good to see you. I'm doing really, really well. Really well. So we have, I'm in Minnesota. And the Minnesota State Fair is starting tomorrow. It's a big deal in Minnesota. I'm just telling you. We're kind of like that movie, The State Fair or State Fair, I think it's called. And then the song is My State Fair. Anyway, and so it's a really big deal in Minnesota. My husband is in radio. And so he will be out there like 7 out of the 10 days. And, they broadcast live from the State Fair, blah, blah, blah. So we were just talking about that this morning. So I'm like, oh, it's State Fair season. That's actually really, really fun. So I'll have to go see how many foods that I can eat at the State Fair that actually like follow with, the way that I eat. So I always find stuff. It's really not that hard. But anyway, so I wanted to go through these deficiencies and let's just see if you already knew some of these. Am I talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of 5 deficiencies, but 4 supplements. So let me know if these things that you already knew or that you're a little surprised at. And then what I did was I put all 4 supplements into a cart. And you can always just ask me for the cart and I will show those to you so that you can just kind of all in one place, see what I'm talking about. If that is something that you need, you may not. So if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay and let me know where you're coming in from. I always love that. And if you're on TikTok, if you could like, share, and follow on TikTok because the algorithm is just its own universe. It's like this living organism of whatever. And it's like if you don't get enough likes and if you don't get in all the things, right? So TikTok is a little different than other platforms. But I love TikTok because I have met some of my favorite people on TikTok. It's this very cool universe of meeting strangers across the world. And it's just too much fun. But anyway, so let's get into it. So if you are on can I say it on TikTok? I probably can't. MET for FOR. If you're on that particular drug for type 2, that is creating one set of deficiencies. And then if you're on an STATIN, that's creating another set. And they kind of overlap a little bit. And so this is super interesting. And so this is where if you feel like you are, if you feel like you're really tired and you've been taking meds, remember yesterday we were talking about how the guy he was on my Facebook profile and he was talking about how for 2 years he was super just exhausted. And he realized that was from being on a GLP-1 and a GLP-2. And we talked about that yesterday. If you want to go back and see what that looks like, you can do that. But very fascinating, because sometimes we have a lot of exhaustion and fatigue from being on something, and we don't necessarily always correlate it. Sometimes we do, but we don't know what to do about it. So that's where this kind of comes in to help you a little bit. So if you're on metformin, these are the ones that are mainly the deficiencies that they're creating. One is a B12 and a B9. So 2 of your Bs, and you don't want to be deficient in Bs, because when you're deficient in certain B vitamins, you actually can end up with having like sadness, the D word, and anxiousness. And a lot of women don't know that that is the case. And so here you are battling maybe hormonal things already. And if you have deficiencies in certain B vitamins, that could be kind of like coming in on the back end and really messing with you, and you don't even know it. What a simple deficiency to fix, though, right? So the symptoms of that would be fatigue, weakness, anemia, nerve damage. I thought that one was super interesting. And cognitive issues. So if you're feeling like you're having a hard time processing information, or maybe you're having brain fog, that could be a B vitamin deficiency. I had no idea that there was a connection with that at all. I did not know. The second one is CoQ10. This is super important, because actually both the MET and the STATIN, they both create deficiencies in CoQ10. You guys, you have to have CoQ10 for cellular energy. Like, this is a heart conversation. So why would we ever in a bazillion years think to ourselves, oh, if they're prescribing me things over here, that could make me deficient in something that is actually really important for my heart? Like, why would we think that? We never would, because we're so trusting, and we think that they must be fine if we're being prescribed, right? So CoQ10, this is some symptoms that you would have with this. If you're having muscle pain, and some of you already know this because you talked to me about it, like when you've been on an STATIN and you noticed that you were having like just that muscle pain, like in your legs or something like that, fatigue and weakness. Okay. So those are the 2 main ones, deficiencies that are being caused by the MET script for type 2. Very fascinating, right? So if anybody is on that already, something to pay attention to. The second one is for the STATINSs. Now, this one is more commonly known to really mess with people. We think about this one a little more often, I think, at least in the conversations that I'm having with people, because y'all, if you're on my content, you're probably the type of person that you're looking to be your own advocate. You're looking to take a different route with your insulin resistance. You're looking to take a different route with weight loss, because you realize that the old ways of losing weight aren't working anymore. Those types of things, right? That's what we do the most, like in the Facebook group. But with an STATINS, CoQ10, same thing, right? Muscle pain, weakness, fatigue, potential heart health issues, OMG. And then vitamin D. Did you know that it creates a vitamin D deficiency? That is for, or the symptoms of that would be like bone pain, muscle weakness, risk of fractures. Oh my gosh. And omegas would be the third one, creating a deficiency in, and that would be, you'd have inflammation. So if you're having high inflammation in your body, your mood, if your mood is off, might be because you're deficient in your fish oil, in your omega-3s, and an increased risk of heart disease. You guys, like, and look at the overlap too with the CoQ10. That's such an important piece of the puzzle. And I feel like, when we talk about insulin resistance, okay, so CoQ10, this is a cellular conversation. It's your cellular energy. You're taking scripts that are creating that deficiency. That's just another layer of cellular frustration. So Yesterday, we talked at length about the difference between taking a GLP-1 injection, which is what that is doing is literally a completely different thing than I talk about when I talk about a supplemental conversation in dealing with insistence. So for no matter who you are, when you have high sugars or high insulin, you can't lose weight. And that's very frustrating. And we hit our 40s. I am so convinced of this, you guys. We slide into our 40s, we're insulin resistant, we do not know it. And this is literally, it's that one hormone, it's the key. There's a key. And that that hormone insulin is the domino effect of all of our other hormones. But what it's doing is the most egregious thing that it does to us in our heart, not necessarily to our body yet, but in our heart as girls, it is our weight keeper. It's our weight keeper because insulin is a fat storing hormone, and we're not making these connections because we're not told these connections. So instead, what we're told is just count points or live in a calorie deficit only, or, you must just be eating too much. I hear this from you guys a lot in my messages. You go to your endocrinologist or somebody and they're just like, you just must be eating too much. You're just not tracking right. You're just not whatever, you're eating more than you think you are, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is. And you're just like, what is going on? This was me in my 40s. Why can't I lose a pound to save my life? What is going on? Well, I had no idea that it was the insulin and the sugars that were keeping me from losing weight or putting on more weight. And then you're like, super frustrated, right? Okay. So having said that, this is a cellular conversation. A GLP-1 injection is dealing with tapping on the door of your pancreas. Knock, knock, knock. Anybody home? Give me more insulin, which is creating higher inflammation in your body. Okay. Now, a cellular conversation, like we're talking about the CoQ10 deficiency, CoQ10 is a cellular conversation. If you're taking meds that are creating that deficiency, CoQ10, now you're taking away from cellular energy. But at the same time, that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say, okay, let's deal with insulin resistance from a cellular perspective. Because if your cell is closed for business for insulin to bring glucose into it, and you need to open your cell so that you can get insulin and glucose into your cell for energy, and so that you don't have to have insulin turn it into fat. Because I'm serious, like that's kind of the biggest, we don't talk about this so much, girls, do we? Do we talk about what that's like, where you're thinking that you're going to gain weight the same way that you've always gained weight, whatever that is for you. Like, you're in high school or you're in your 20s, you're after having babies, and you kind of always put on weight a certain way. Like your body just does that. All of a sudden, like it seems like the game completely changes. And you're putting on like fat pockets on your body, or you're liquefying in areas that you're like, what is happening right now? And of course, it's pretty much a hormonal conversation, right? Like that's why if you slide into your 40s and you're insulin resistant and you don't know that, like me, you don't know that insulin is a hormone, and you don't know that this can domino affect the rest of your hormones, like you're not putting all of these pieces together. But if we can, and I got like a C in biology. I say that like a lot lately because it's like, you guys, I'm not a science person. That wasn't my wheelhouse. I wasn't going to teach sciencey stuff. But if we can understand, I'm just so convinced that if we can understand why something works the way that it does, we will stick to a routine. We will stick to our own introduced program. Balloons on Instagram. We will stick to our own discipline that we're trying to create, because now we have a why. Now we have a reason. It's not just you're such a loser and you don't have any willpower. You tried that before. What makes you think you're going to do it now? You think you're going to lose weight in your 50s? Are you crazy? Like those types of things where we think, well, maybe this is just my lot in life. Like there's just a lot of obesity and type 2 in my Italian family. So I guess here we go. I mean, that was in my head. I don't know if that's in your head. Deborah, how do you get the trio? You received my PDF. Let me know. Deborah, I will send you a cart. I'll send you a cart with all 3 in the cart. And then all you do is go to the top of my site and there's a person icon. Click on that and register with your name and check the box for the perks, because then you can get $4.99 shipping, or over $139, it's free. So sometimes people will grab 2 months because there's a 6-month guarantee. And besides, please do not think you're going to do anything for 2 weeks and that life is going to be magical. I would never, ever say that to a healing journey that somebody has to go on. Like it took me a few years to change out my ingredients because I was doing it on my own. And I'm very proud of the journey that I took. And I'm grateful for the journey that I took because it helped me to assess my own food issues. But now I know that I can help other people compress time. So that's very beneficial for a lot of people. And so I started the trio over 10 years ago, but hey, you made it, Carla. She says, love being here, you're drinking your gut primer. Good job. And taking your trio, getting the day going later because an added benefit of the day is starting later. Nice. The why is answered. Self-advocating, loving yourself is a good thing. Way to go, Carla. I so appreciate you. And I appreciate you saying that. You know, it took me a long time. I never advocated for myself. You know, it's super interesting that I talk about this now at my age. This is how much I didn't advocate for myself. I was such a people pleaser. I was such a disconnected to my own body and my own universe person. That's kind of where I was. And so here I am in my 20s, go back with a couple of decades. In my 20s, and I'm having babies, and babies are, you know, like when you get pregnant, nobody really tells you what's going to happen, right? Like it's hard to, you can't explain that is really my point. How do you explain that? You don't. I was gestational with my first baby, and I'm taking my blood 4 times a day. And I talk about that because I never was told anything by a doctor, a nurse. Nobody ever said anything to me ever about, oh, now you have a seven times more likely ability to be type 2 in your life. Like you should pay attention. Like this is how you avoid it. Like that. Zero. All they told me was, oh man, I'm having a memory. I remember going to a nutritionist when I was pregnant and gestational. And she was really kind of a snot. And I know they're not snots. I know you aren't. I have a lot of nurses in my world. You guys are very, very nice. But she was really snotty with me. And she said, so do you think you can eat this to eat? And I go, well, I don't know. Like, I don't remember. I answered no or something to something. And she's like, well, what would make you think that you can't eat that? Of course you can eat that, blah, 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 blah. And anyway, I just remember that whole interaction being very confusing for me. I was kind of super like naive and not really very street smarts in any way, shape, or form when I was in my early 20s. I don't know how else to explain that. But I do remember, like after I had my first baby, and he was large because when you're gestational diabetic, so he was 9 pounds, 13 ounces. And so I had some issues, and like my bladder kind of shut down. And so I had to go home. This is TMI, you guys. Are you in for a little Wednesday morning TMI? If you're not, you can scroll right now. So my bladder was very traumatized, and I had to go home with a Foley catheter. That's where they have a bag that's attached to your leg. And I remember, this is not a gestational diabetes conversation right now. This is me being a people pleaser and disconnected from my universe conversation. So I have this Foley catheter in, and they're like, okay, so what you're going to do is basically you're going to, empty it out all the time, blah, 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 because I couldn't pee. And they can't let you go home if you can't pee. They should have never let me go home anyway. That's a whole nother conversation. We can have that another day. My hemoglobin was super, super low, and I was a wreck. I was a freaking wreck. I had lost a lot of blood. Anyway, so I go home and I have this Foley, and then what they would have me do is they would have me empty it. They would have me drink, go into the office, empty it, and then they would like do a stick cath so that they could see how much was left in me. Like my body wasn't reading itself. And one time they said to me, we have this intern who would like to be able to, be a part of this procedure and practice on you. And she's like, would you mind if we had this student, whatever? And I'm like, of course, no problem. Why wouldn't I? And I'm telling you what, you guys, that was one of the worst experiences of my life. But that's kind of how my 20s have been defined. Like in my head, when I go back and I look at having babies and I look at how I was just like, very like, kind of like, what? Like I used to say, and I don't anymore because I speak better things over myself now. But I used to say, things just don't dawn on me, which is a really bad declaration to make over yourself. So don't say that about yourself. But that's how I felt. Like things just didn't dawn on me. Things didn't connect. When I even look at that in terms of like the whole diabetes conversation, like here I've got my dad and his health is going like this. It's tanking. He's on all these medications. He's type 2, insulin dependent. His health is tanking. I'm literally watching it happen, right? I'm going to the hospital and there's all the procedures and the heart surgeries and, the kidney dialysis, and his function looks bad. His color's looking bad. Everything is not going well. All of these things. And then when I'm 30 and I have 3 children, they're 6, 3, and 6 months old at the time, he dies. I still don't do anything about the fact that I have type 2 and obesity all over my Italian family. Like maybe it's just denial, right? Maybe you're just in denial. Maybe you just think that, que sera, whatever's going to happen is going to happen because they tell me it's genetic anyway. I had no idea. Carrie says, how do you know if your glucose levels are normal if you do not test your blood? Well, I know because I never became type 2. So for instance, for me, and then I'll answer that for the average person. For me, basically that looks like, Kristen, thank you. You're here to do the Lord's work. I appreciate you. Kristen comes on and she gives me all the likes on TikTok and it really helps a lot. Like you guys don't, algorithm stuff is weird. For myself, because I've had, I've had shoulder surgery, right? So when you go in and you have shoulder surgery, they're going to test your blood. They're going to tell you all the things. And I had, nothing showing up, right? But that's for me. But for other people, there are a couple of different things that you can do. So sometimes I'm seeing a lot of people now with the continuous glucose monitors on them, on their arms. Super beneficial. If you do not know what foods spike your sugars, if you're confused about that, because there is so much noise, a CGM can be very helpful for people. Or you can just know sort of by how your body feels. If you're looking for something to make you like that first step of, maybe I should get tested, that kind of a thing. When you eat something, if shortly after you are exhausted, like you're spiking and you're crashing and it's making you exhausted, that's a really good sign that, you're eating something that is spiking your sugars. And then maybe over time, you're starting to feel kind of nauseous. You're not feeling very good. If you're talking about just insulin resistance in general, your sleep is off, your mood is off. There's like your unregulated sugar balances in your body that over time just stay high. There are definitely some of that. But I really do recommend people test their blood. If you think you've got something going on, don't be like me. In my 40s, when my mom would not leave me alone about my sugars, I was way scared to go to the doctor. I was way scared. I had spent my entire 30s eating everything white. My weight was just doing this. So what I did for me was I was looking for the signs that my dad had as a type 2. If I got an owie on my leg, an owie, listen to me, I've got grandsons, can you tell? If I got a cut on my leg, I would pay attention to it to see how well it was healing. If I was peeing a lot, I would ask myself, is that because I drank a lot today or was that normal peeing? If I was thirsty, I was asking myself, is that because I actually have a dry mouth? Or is it because I'm normal thirsty because it's 90 degrees outside? Like that's what I was doing. So don't be like me if you think you need to have your blood sugars tested so that you can know. When I was pregnant, I was testing them 4 times a day because I had to know what my body was doing. And then after I had my baby, they gave me hot cocoa, sugared hot cocoa, and then they tested my blood and they said, "Oh, you're good." And that was the end of the conversation. There was never a conversation ever again at a follow-up visit about having been gestational diabetic. So I'm sure that I don't know if that completely answers that for you. Carla says, I'm speaking a lot of your experience. You searched years and so thankful for this group. The group, you guys, is Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And what I share, it's time for me. You're so amazed that you've finally found the information that you need. I'm so glad, Carla. You're 68 and you've lived 40 years past your mom. Wow, that's amazing. You wish you had known this many years ago, not looking back, going forward with good results. Thank you, Carla. Yep. That's super, super encouraging for so many people because we can make a decision right now. We can make a decision right now. Insomnia, you're on B9, B12, and PQQ. What is PQQ? Oh, is that CoQ10? Is that a CoQ10? Yes, they told you to after your baby is delivered that it's gone. Yeah. Like, that the conversation should have been this, in my opinion. So your being gestational diabetic tells me that you are insulin resistant, that your body, for whatever reason, is good morning, Matt. Good to see you. I did not look for your message yesterday, Matt. I apologize. I will do that today. I was going through my messages and I didn't see like your number or whatever. So I will go back. Sometimes my messages are a little goofy, but they should have said, in my opinion, you are insulin resistant. And so that means that your body, you probably have a predisposition because your dad is type 2. And so you're going to want to pay attention. And what that looks like is, and then give proper nutritional advice. I know I'm asking for a lot. I know. I'm asking for the freaking moon, right? Because the nutritional information given is super bad. Like it's ultra bad. Okay. And so you can't rely on, if you know, when they're telling you you can have 150 grams of carbs, Cheryl, I don't know what I said, Cheryl, but I said something funny. But it's really bad when if they're telling you you can have 150 grams of carbohydrates a day and you're a type 2, run. Just go find somebody else. You are the consumer of their services. You have to have that mindset. You have to shift your mind and you have to be able to say, listen, I'm the one who pays for the insurance. So I get to pay for my own doctor, whether it's a $3 copay, a $50 copay, or straight cash out of the pocket to go see a functional doctor or whatever it is. You are the consumer. If you do not get good information from the get-go and they are telling you super dumb, stupid information, it's the only way that I can say it, that you can have that many carbs as a type 2 diabetic, go find another provider. You live, most of you, on my feed in America. Go get a different doctor. You can even get doctors now via virtual. So no longer are you confined, and I don't know necessarily the process of that. I just know it exists, right? So you had small baby preemies. Wow. The first one was 4 pounds, 8 ounces. And the second was 6 pounds, 8 ounces. And you had gestational diabetes. Isn't that interesting, Lisa? That is super interesting. I would assume, I just think that because they were preemies, there would not be a, just a fullness of size, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like my son was 9 pounds, 13 ounces. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Kristen. 9 pounds, 13 ounces. So he was big. And then my second one was 8'8". No, sorry. My second one, I was hypoglycemic. So same coin, both sides of the coin. Blood sugars that were off. Okay. So she was 7 pounds, half an ounce. And then my third one was 8'8", and I was good with him. I was eating better, and I was waitressing at the time. So I literally waitressed up until about 48 hours before I had him. And so my exercise was good. I was on my feet good. You know what I mean? Like I was doing the thing. First was 6 weeks early, the second was 4 weeks early. Lisa, that is quite the story. What a journey that was. How old are they now? That is quite the story. Yeah. Patricia says that MET, the type 2 med, MET, gave her diarrhea. Another one, FARX, I don't know that one, gave you a yeast infection and cost a lot of money. Wow. Isn't it nice to pay for a yeast infection? That's great. Just started the GLIM. You're on a CGM. Good job, Patricia. Side effects include weight gain. Yikes. And you're 85, diagnosed a year ago. Isn't that something, Patricia? Isn't that something? Wow. Have you ever tried targeted supplements? Because I talk about those a lot to be able to help with the sugars and insulin. Your grandfather, Carlo, was type 2, and his doctor gave him a diet that said he could have up to 12 slices a day. I assume you're talking about bread. Are you freaking kidding me? And that was in the 70s. You guys, the misinformation, it's so bad. And I know that it's shifted, but it's still not good. Bread, yep. Linda, my daughter just had a baby and they tested her glucose one time and that was it. She had to return the glucometer. They said she was fine. Was she, Linda, or was she gestational and she didn't know it? Yeah. They're 21 and 18. That's good. Yeah, that was a long time ago, right? Same here. My kids are 35, 32, and 29 now. Not much has changed. Isn't that just something? You know, it's just what I do every single day. I'm going to talk to somebody about being your own advocate. I think that we have to recognize what we do have control over and what we don't have control over. And when you do get a diagnosis of something that is very severe, something that is terminal, you do have to have a different universe, right? And you have to have a different set of doctors. And I get that. But insulin resistance isn't that. It's not. This is 100% reversible, you guys. This is 100% within your control. And you need to know that. That's what I talk about all the time. Targeted supplementation, the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity, and then trading out your food ingredients. And every month in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, we do a challenge, a 5-day challenge to get you resourced and encouraged and moving forward. Like this is a track that you can run on and actually lose weight. Her baby was 5 to 10 ounces and little. The misinformation is real, Matt says. They told me 60 carbs. Oh, gall, Matt. Okay, so Matt is my friend who's on dialysis. They told him 60 carbs for breakfast, 40 carbs for lunch, and 60 for dinner. I eat roughly 30 carbs a day now. Good for you, Matt. So you guys, that's just really bad information. We have to just call it out. We have to just tell them. I mean, I had a customer. This is before I came online, before I had enough guts to come online and talk about my 3 supplements. Here, I'll show them to you just so you can see the size. I didn't have enough guts to do this online. I avoided type 2 in my family, and I'm the one who did supplements instead. Let's see if I can find yep, here it is. And so I had a lot of imposter syndrome. But I had one customer here locally in Minnesota that it was a guy. It wasn't a female. So these are the 3. And I started these over 10 years ago, and they help with your insulin and your sugars and your liver function and your visceral belly fat, your metabolism, all of those things. This is where all of the testimonies come from. And you can see a lot of the testimonies on the Instagram top of the page. There's a pink highlight bubble. Look them up for yourself. Or if you're already in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, guide number 4. So he said to me, basically he texted me or called me, I can't remember. And he said, order me some more of those diabetes pills. And that was kind of the first time that I went, okay, wow, people are getting results because I wasn't type 2, right? So I needed that data. And I'm like, okay, wow, this is very interesting. But then he texted me one day, and he was in the parking lot, and he had just left his doctor's office, and he was so pissed. He was so mad at the bad information that they were giving him. He could not even believe. And so like when Matt says that they told him, like, come on, you guys, as a type 2, they told him that he could have 60 carbs for breakfast, 40 for lunch, and 60 for dinner. Guys, that's criminal. Come on. I would love to know, Matt, how long ago you were told that. And then when did you start dialysis? I would love to know kind of like a timeline, because, this is the thing. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? How do you not know? How can you be so smart as a provider with an education? Like, I don't know that I could handle medical school. I mean, it's not an easy road to become a doctor. It's a lot of work. I don't know that I would ever want to understand anatomy to that degree or, whatever. So they do a lot of work. I'm not putting down the profession, but the stupidity on insulin resistance is a little off the charts. And I do not understand. I mean, I have my suspicions and my theories and my thought processes about big PHAR. I have all of that too, right? Because that's what they're educated in. And I get that. But come on, like to literally look at his life and say, that's what you can do. And we're just going to increase your scripts or increase the doses, or you might end up on dialysis. Oops, sorry. Like what are you doing? And how do you do this over and over and over? How do you, with a straight face, tell a type 2 person every single day that they can have that many carbs? I do not understand that. That is a job that I could not do. I literally couldn't do the job. I'd have to leave. That's criminal. It's not just stupid. It's really criminal. That was the hospital that told you that. Okay. I know medical schools are PHAR paid for. Yes. You've only been diagnosed for 11 months with diabetes, and you have been on dialysis for 3 years. That's so interesting. I wonder where that disconnect is. The dialysis solution is made of dextrose, which made me diabetic. Stephanie, nice to meet you. I'll send you a cart, Stephanie. There are 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. And I started them like over over 10 years ago. This was like the beginning of my journey. My dad died of type 2 when he was 63, and I was only 30. I'm Italian. So there's a lot of obesity in my family and type 2. But Matt, I'm really sorry. That sounds kind of like a chronological list of events that doesn't quite match up. You know what I mean? Like, shoot, Yeah, Carla says, how astounding. Yeah. It just sounds like a series of unfortunate events in their lack of diagnosis. Negligence, Mary says. Yep. Oh, that's a good word. You're getting 2 liters of dextrose every time you do dialysis. See, I don't know enough about the process, Matt. I just know my dad, having been on dialysis, how hard that was on him. So it's a journey. It's a journey. And I'm sure that there are also a lot of other factors that go into people's medical conversations, right? So I'm not a doctor, and everybody has their own set of factors that go into what got them where they are. So this is so not a black and white conversation when it comes to, like, for instance, if you go and you look at the testimonies of the trio and you see somebody saying, within 2 months, it brought down my morning sugars by 30 points and I lost 14 pounds. I'm type 2 and I couldn't lose a pound for 3 years. Or if you see somebody say, my A1C has gone from this to this over the last 5 months, blah, blah, blah. Or if you see somebody say, I'm now off of 2 BP meds. Those are all very individualized conversations, right? Because everybody is eating a certain way, taking a certain, level of scripts, supplementing a certain way. Everybody has their own, kind of like multifaceted gem that they're working with. And so I love all of the testimonies. They make me very happy, but these are not magic, but boy, are they helpful, because you're filling in nutritional deficiencies. You're using things that God gave us to make your engine run. Like, your engine has slowed, maybe not to a stop, but maybe it's totally sludged out. And so you can get that functioning again and get your pancreas to do what it's supposed to do, get your glucose levels, to like finally recede, get your liver to function at a different level. You can do stuff from the inside out. But how long will that take you? I can't answer that, right? However, I do like the fast results that I can see with people because they give other people hope. That should give you hope and encouragement. You should not feel so alone. You should not feel like there are no answers for you, because what do you have to lose? 6-month guarantee on products. And to my understanding, I've had one person say that they couldn't do the trio, and that's because, again, everybody has their own factors. But one out of, like, how many? Hundreds and hundreds. Just saying. Miss Patricia, your new drug increases insulin to be released. Ask your doctor if that causes problems with becoming insulin sensitive and to lose weight. I mentioned this because I just found out 2 months ago my med causes insulin to be released. Well, and that is, Cheryl. So isn't that the conversation, right? Like, thank you for saying that. This is the conversation that I'm having about the GLP-1s. Like, stop the insanity. Cellular level, open up the cell for sensitivity. GLP-1 or meds, scripts that she's talking about, that are tapping on the door of your pancreas, getting it to release more insulin. So if we have that conversation, more insulin means more inflammation, but also that's not a sustainable conversation. Your pancreas is not made of steel and can just do this forever. That's not where this goes. Your pancreas has an ability to become exhausted. And so cellular pancreas stimulation that has a lifespan. 2 different camps, 2 different conversations. And if you didn't see the replay from yesterday where we talked about GLP-1, GLP-2, that's worth going back and watching the replay if just to have that conversation in your head. Wait a second. If it's releasing more insulin, if it's always doing that to my pancreas, where do we go from here with that? I know where I go from here with this. People say, do you still take this? I say, yes, because I still take my car to be maintained. I still take my car to get the oil changed. I still take care of my vehicles. So I'm going to actually, all honesty, I do not take my car to get my oil changed. I don't. My husband does. I've never taken my car to get my oil changed. I'm just saying. But in our home, we take our vehicles to get our oil changed. So I'm constantly thinking, somebody asked me this question last night. If you Oh man, and I just didn't even think about the analogy at the time, but when you're taking, when you are committed to a supplement routine, okay, and you're taking certain things, listen, I'm 59 and I don't take any scripts. My trade out, this is easy. This is easy. And I have maintenance to do on my body. The result of that is that I wake up in the morning and I don't ache. I'm 59 years old. Now, that's not that old, but I'm just saying, like, I'm 59, I'm not on any scripts, and I don't ache. That feels really good. By this age, my mom had already had multiple hip replacements and was heading for a knee replacement because the inflammation was so high, right? So we can do things differently. So I love the fact that you take, I take our cars to get oil changed. Good, Mary. Your doc also told you may gain a few pounds versus the metabolic talk. God, just stop. Just stop. It seems counterproductive to use a sugary substance to flush kidneys. Is there a non-sugar solution? Great question, Mary. You ate something yesterday that put your morning blood sugar at 126. Do you know what it was, Carla? Back at it today, inside out, being patient with yourself. Yes. You're hopeful and you know you're not alone. Oh, Carla, you're such a good advocate. She's saying that the trio and the gut primer really works. Those are the two things I've been talking about the gut primer a lot recently. Your twin brother passed away from pancreatic cancer. Oh, Carla, I'm so sorry. Type 2 affects your pancreas. So you were on Trulicity, but you stopped. On the way to health on the inside out, the trio and begin. Carla, you're such an advocate. Girl, you should just, yes. Let me know if you refer people. Kristen's laughing at me. I know. Tell other people and then I'll bonus you stuff, Carla. Cause yeah, day before was 112 coming down since you started the trio and the gut primer. Yes. Yep. Your morning glucoses are coming down. That makes me very happy. That makes me really happy. Like that's the whole goal. And even Dr. Eric Berg will say it can take your morning sugars like up to a year. It's called dawn phenomenon, where you have not eaten anything and your sugars are high already in the morning. It's because you haven't regulated while you were sleeping, right? Because insulin is your hormones are doing all sorts of stuff while you're sleeping. And so it's messing up your sleep, which is messing up your insulin resistance the next day, which is messing up your cortisol the next day, all of these things. And it's all tied together. It's all one big ball of yarn. And if we do not start to get at the very base, if we do not get at the base, like if insulin resistance is here, let's get underneath it. Let's get underneath it. That's the whole thought process. And even when I talk about the gut primer, the reason why that is so important is because when your gut is messed up, and a lot of people, come on, like if I took a poll right now of 100 people and I said, do you have digestive issues? Do you have IBS? Do you have leaky gut? Do you have, like, I could just go down the list, right? And people would be like, yeah, that's me. That's me. I've been diagnosed too. Well, do you understand that that's affecting your nutrient absorption? So if that is then not helping you to absorb your nutrients, whether it's in your foods or your supplements, then how are you supposed to be able to fix the whole conversation with bringing down your sugars and your insulin and working on your body at a cellular level? You have, hi, Helen. She has the dawn phenomenon effect. Yep. And that can take longer, right? But yet I do have testimony after testimony after testimony of people's Carla's saying it right now. Carla, how long ago did you start taking the trio and the gut primer together? How long ago? Because what she's finding out is that she's having good morning sugars pretty quickly. Now, she ate something yesterday that messed her up this morning, but otherwise, August 15th. So let's see. What's the date today, people? It's August. I don't even know what day it is. 20. Hold on. I can get it. 24, 23, 22. Is it 21st? Is it the 21st? So she's been taking it for a week, and her morning sugars are already showing a better reading than she has seen in years. She texted me, in years. 21st. Thank you. And she's been type 2 since 2007. And this is a different conversation. Okay. So instead of having a conversation where we're going to, let me think here. One conversation would be medical, and it would be, let's tap on the door of your pancreas to make more insulin constantly. Let's do that. That's one conversation. I don't like that answer because that's not a long-term answer. Another conversation would be what I talk about, which is let's work on your cells becoming more sensitive so they can receive insulin and glucose without side effects because you're filling in nutritional deficiencies. That's another conversation. And then probably the third conversation would be, what's my thought process on this? Let's trick our bodies when we're eating food with food combinations or with fiber to try to get our bodies to digest differently, and maybe we'll get a better result. Or let's trick ourselves with freezing starches and doing things like that. Now, if you have a continuous glucose monitor and you can see that things are actually different, you can, live your best life, right? Like do the best you can. But trying to take grain and freeze it and do all of those things, I pretty much don't ache. And I know that your function of life can be completely wildly, obnoxiously different if you stop eating grain. It's a really big deal. So trying to trick our food or trick our systems with what we're doing with our food. I mean, it's an old thought process. This is as old as, whatever, probably since the Industrial Revolution, where you put a slice of cheese on your apple pie, you're adding protein to the apple pie. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but I've seen people do it, right? They're trying to slow down the height of the sugar spike. Anyway, we can try to trick ourselves all day long, or I will try my best and my darndest to teach you how to fish. As an Italian girl, I'll teach you how to fish. So the trio are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. If you want a cart, I'll put all 3 in a cart and I'll send it to you. If you want a cart with this and the gut primer, I'll send that to you. You can put that in the comments on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The messages will go away when the live shuts down. So you have to get into contacting me. You have to either get into my inbox on Instagram or on TikTok. There's a phone number that's on my profile, and you can text me and say I was on your live today. So let's start with targeted supplementation. Let's open up the hood of your vehicle. Let's get your system to function differently right here on the inside, your entire GI tract. Okay, let's get that running differently. Then let me teach you ingredient trade outs. Let me teach you that you can still be a foodie. Love food. You don't have to stop all of that overnight. You don't have to deal with the mindset issues overnight, but I can teach you how to trade out your food ingredients. And then we'll do a challenge together every single month. We just finished up August challenge. If you get into the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, those 5 days are pinned to the top of that group. Okay. And you can watch those as a replay. You can get resourced right away today. And then inside the group, go to guide number 4, read the testimonies on the trio, read the testimonies, get your hopes up, be encouraged. That's a completely different track than the one that they're giving you in the Matrix. It's completely different. And I just want you to understand that we're talking about 2 completely different things. Cellular level, open up the cell sensitivity. Script answer, tapping on the door of your pancreas. It will become exhausted after a while. That's not a long-term solution. If I can teach you how to fish, you can do this forever. When my daughter found out that she had gallstones during her pregnancy and they wanted to take out her gallbladder, and instead she learned how to change, she immediately started with In my line, I have digestive enzymes. I have a liver product. I have these things. She started supplementing a specific way immediately, and she changed out her diet to be keto like me. And the inflammation out of her body went whoosh. She looked phenomenal because she was like a month away from delivering. She was 8 months pregnant and they wanted to take out her gallbladder. I'm like, no. She said, I'm not going to do that. So instead, she did that, and she had like 5 to 8 episodes a day. This was very painful. This wasn't a slight conversation on gallstones. This is big, big. But gallstones can be created from too high of insulin, too high of estrogen, too high of cortisol, hormones. Okay. So when she got done with it, I said, do you understand? You now have the key to weight management for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. I didn't have that key at 30 years old. Not even close. I had no idea that if my insulin and my sugars were high, I couldn't lose weight. Who ever told me that? Like, who was having that conversation? Nobody. You're in the UK. Can you buy them? Jennifer, you can't. I'm so sorry. I can sell to the United States, Canada, and the Dominican Republic. I have so many people from Australia that they'll even come back to me and go, can you sell in Australia yet? It's a government thing because of ingredients. It's just the way that it is. I hope I didn't miss something there, but I might have. Glitches. Let me see. Carrie, thank you. Yes, message me. Carrie says she has been on the trio for almost 1 month. Wow. Oh, interesting. So your A1C went up. Your morning sugar numbers are high. In the afternoon, average 120. Very interesting. So now, Carrie, the one testimony that I had from a customer, she was type 2 for 3 years. Okay. Her A1C was, the reason why she found out she was type 2 is because she had a stroke. Okay. Her A1C was 13. So she gets it down with the help of her doctors and scripts for about, I'm thinking it was a 6.9. She gets it down to, but she couldn't budge a pound. So she starts like on a couple of different supplements. These are not the ingredients that I use just because they're not a part of my world. I didn't know about them. Berberine and inositol. She still couldn't budge a pound. When she started the trio, for 2 weeks, her sugars went up. Okay, now she was my anomaly. And I asked her point blank, I said, why did you continue? Why did you do that? And she said, I just had a feeling, because she had maybe watched her own fluctuations in the past. Not sure. So, and then her morning sugars took a dive and they went down 30 points, and she lost 14 pounds in that 2.5 months. So the first 2 weeks, she was like, this is interesting. So I'm so glad that she was testing for me. Now your A1C, that's over the last 3 months. So if you just started that, your A1C will not reflect the average. The afternoon sugar, though, is the one to pay attention to, right? That's the one. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. I know. And you know what? Honestly, because this is such a global conversation all the time, I look forward to the day that I can actually sell to many countries, because this is a global conversation. For a long time, I kept thinking standard American diet, but it's not true. It's not true. It's really everywhere. And it's just, there are a lot of reasons for it, and a lot of factors, but it's all over the world. All over there's a song in my head. Don't ask. Yes, please message me, Carrie. I would love that. So I hope that helped you today with those deficiencies. And I kind of talked about a lot of stuff. So I'll just give you some wrap up information. The 4 supplements that I was talking about are that are deficiencies created by MET or by an STATIN. MET can create 2 B vitamin deficiencies, B12 and B9, and a CoQ10. CoQ10 is what you need for cellular energy. And STATIN can leave you with a deficiency of CoQ10, vitamin D, and fish oil, meaning omega-3s. Okay. So what I did was I actually created a cart that has those 4 in it. And if you want that cart, you can just ask me for the deficiency cart. And if you need to like put that in Facebook land, I'll see that when I'm done. Instagram, you have to get up into my inbox to tell me that you want that. And TikTok, you either have to jump over, like there's an icon on my profile for Instagram. You can portal yourself over, or you can get up, you can text me, or you can get over to my inbox, in Instagram, however you want to do that. Dr. Eric Berg says that it's the beginning. That's because Dr. Eric Berg says that in the beginning, your liver, this is for you, Carrie, will release more insulin before blood sugar might be higher when starting keto. Isn't that interesting, Carla? So it's a little bit of a detox conversation, isn't it? Helping your liver do what your liver needs to do. Your liver, you guys, is such a powerful organ. It is like the workhorse of all organs. It's like, I'm going to do my job, and it's going to just like work so hard for you. You have to love your liver. And if for no other reason, do it because it's helping you lose fat. But if you have a sludgy liver, that's why I love the fact that the trio has something in it for the liver. That's one thing that I love so much about it. Linda, I'll send you that cart for the 4. Bye, Carla. Carla, that's during the, I'm on at 2 in the Facebook group during the challenge week, but not today. So that would be in September. We'll do another challenge. Michelle, I'll send you that. I will. Yes, Carrie. Thank you. She says she was 6.1 in February. So you're confused. Yep. Well, and again, keep tracking. You have to, in order to be your own advocate, what is required of you is being an assessor of your world. You have to be an assessor of your world because nobody else can do it for you, right? You have to know your own universe. Sheila, thank you so much for the likes. I so appreciate you. And if you're on TikTok, I'm going to jump off. So follow me if you don't want to lose me into the algorithm of the universe. So, yeah, because that's how that goes. And then a year later, what happened to that lady? That's just the way that goes. It's hard to follow people on TikTok sometimes. But anyway, be super, super blessed, you guys. It's been so fun hanging out with you again. And for everybody who has wanted the cart, I'll get off and I'll send you the cart. Let me know if you need anything. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll just, every day we talk about insulin resistance, how to become your own advocate, how to take back your body so that you can create better memories, how you can finally lose weight. The one thing I never mentioned in this entire live today is that I've lost 3 sizes in my 50s. I've gone from a 2X down to a large after my cycle stopped. That's because I got a handle on my insulin and my sugars. That's the beginning of the whole conversation with the trio. Okay. So there you go. Can't wait to see what next week's A1C will be. Me too, Carla. Get me your results. I want your results. All right. See you guys later. Be super blessed.